Hello and very welcome, everybody, and welcome. What? Why are you talking, man? I'm
What?
trying to say
Why
hello,
not?
everybody, and welcome.
Hey, look, my
Uh,
head's
What? What? Stop talking. I'm trying to introduce the video. Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the Apostate Prophet.
Yo.
Messed up now. I don't know what to say. See, anyway, welcome to today's show where we are talking about Ahmadis. And why are you chuckling?
I wasn't going to say anything, but you asked me, and it's because you said because before we started, you said Ahmadis nuts, and then now I'm never going to be able to hear Ahmadis without thinking of that.
I didn't want to say it. It's very rude, but so
You didn't want to say it. It's very rude.
yeah. Anyway, so today we want to sit down and review the debate that we had and comment on it a little bit. David.
Yeah, we haven't coordinated any thoughts here. You're just like,
No, we
hey,
haven't.
let's do a review and stuff. But we should probably start with some like overall impressions or something like that. Something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You actually said to me right before we started that you got annoyed.
Oh, right here? Oh, no, I would have to send you that. Hang on. Just go on a completely different topic. I'll have to get you the screenshot.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the thing. This was my first ever actual lengthy exchange with Ahmadis. Was my first discussion and debate with Ahmadis, and this comes as a result of these guys asking for a debate.
Yeah. Hey. By the way, do you know what happened there? Because I have to check the emails. But Marlon was saying, hey, these Ahmadis want to debate. Yeah, I have to check. I don't remember this because in the debate they're complaining that you and me are debating them. And in my head, I was like, wait, didn't you guys challenge us? Didn't you challenge the but I don't recall completely. So that's why I didn't say anything. But I was like, I thought you guys challenged us, but I don't know. Maybe Marlon was I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to check the emails.
Well, here's the thing. I first became aware of that one guy. What's his name? Tyre. I became aware of him when he debated IP.
Inspiring philosophy.
Yeah. I watched a debate live, and I made a comment on that debate, and I think I made a super chat and asked a question during that debate. And actually, during that debate, when my question was read, Tahir he then said that he would also like to challenge me to a debate. So it was him who actually made that initial challenge, and then later on, I also received emails that he wants to have a debate with me. I never even thought about debating these people. I don't care about Ahmadis very much, so I never really thought about that. It was completely their attempt. They put in the effort to debate us, and
Yeah,
I went
to check.
into it.
Yeah, I did want to check because I don't know how much of it is Marlon from the Gospel Truths trying to set up debates, and maybe he's saying this, but if they're the ones saying, "Hey, we want a 2-on-2," and then they complain when they get a 2-on-2, and they say, "Oh, look at this! Oh, the two of you uniting against Islam. This proves that it's the truth." That's just wild stuff, man. That's like insane.
That's very, very, very strange. In fact, I mean, I could probably find some of the correspondence. I could also find the clip of him saying that he wants to debate me. Um, I was never interested in Ahmadis. So going into this debate, we did prepare in advance, right? Well, we did very briefly.
What you
We
mean,
said,
like that morning?
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Was the-
We said we should probably prepare something. Then we didn't really do it. We just briefly that morning exchanged a few thoughts and then went into this debate, and it actually went over quite well, despite
Mhm.
the very minimal preparation. We coordinated it quite well back and forth. The opening statement. Although both of us initially went a little bit too long in our initial first topics, but still we managed it. It was good. And the thing is, in the back of my mind, the entire time, I was wanting to be cool and nice with these people.
Yeah, then you turn into a bully. What's wrong with you?
I know. I thought there's no need to be all rude and mean to these people. I'll just be nice. Everything will be fine. But then after the opening statement, this Tahir guy immediately started getting aggressive and
Yeah.
insulting.
Wasn't that interesting?
And as soon as he did that, I thought, okay, okay, all right, okay. Forget about being nice if that's what you want to do. Okay,
Yeah, I could tell. I could tell. Now, me, I stayed super nice throughout, but
yeah,
it wasn't that interesting because I'm trying to think because Nabil was an Ahmadi. I'm trying to think. I don't. Does anyone remember if I've ever debated like formal debate with Ahmadis before? I'm trying to think. I've been in like probably 85 or 90 debates over the years, so I'm a little short on the details of all of them. But I don't. Right now, I can't recall debating any Ahmadis, but I had just based on my familiarity, I'd assume these guys were going to be like super polite and so on. They were more mocking than like Dawa guys.
yeah,
Isn't that interesting? Like they want the reputation of being the super nice, having the best manners. We've got the best manners. Look at us. We've got the best manners. We've got better manners than other guys. And they instantly start like mocking Jesus, mocking God. Ah, is God impotent? What is your God impotent?
yeah. You, sh-
Stuff
you
like
should
that.
you should clip every single part where they said God
Maybe
is.
we'll do that tomorrow. Maybe we'll go through those tomorrow. Oh, because here's the thing. Here's the thing. They don't realize how bad they are. They're mocking God and saying if God doesn't kill a false prophet, or if God allows a true prophet to be killed, then he's impotent. And let's just say we're going to go through a bunch of Quran passages about true prophets being killed, and therefore you need a title like Ahmadis mock Allah or something like that. Guys, if you're trying to show that you're the best Muslims, you're doing a crap job of it because your behavior is not what you say it is. In other words, hey guys, I have no problem with mocking. I think it's an effective form of communication and a good way to make points and so on. But when the people who would be most inclined to complain about us mocking, and they go, oh look, you can't trust these guys. Don't listen to these guys. They mock. And then you guys like are more mocking and condescending than us. I don't know. That sounds like hypocrisy. So there's that. But then on the other hand, I don't even know how much time I want to spend going after Ahmadis, but you could take a bunch of things out of that debate and just wreck Islam with it.
Yes, 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 yes. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I'm wondering if someone's going to make some sort of meme now with Ahmadis nuts. Did you invent that? Did you see that somewhere else?
No, I came up with it. I'm probably not the first one whoever said it.
I didn't think of it. I didn't think of it. And I've told you like 11,000 stories about people in prison saying that stuff every single day. So it's like ingrained in my brain to say D's nuts whenever possible. And I didn't think of that.
Well, you know, I like to play with words a lot. And after that debate, I did think to myself in my head, Ahmadis nuts. And I giggled to myself a little bit, but I didn't think it was that funny. So
That's pretty funny. Hey, wait, what
yes,
works better?
I see
I
it.
emailed you. I emailed you a
see it.
screenshot.
I see it. I see
Yeah,
it.
that's a good one.
I see it. All right. So you emailed me something.
Just a minor thing, but it's a little.
Why didn't you just tell me where to find it? I could have just gone there and grabbed that quickly.
I'll screenshot it and then send it over to you. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. So look what you see here. Great quality debate from True Islam team. Last defense of opponents were to declare Ahmadis as non-Muslim. Now that is a comment from a random person that I do not know. But look, True Islam UK reposted. That's the guys we're debating. So they retweeted this, right? AP. See, when I'm engaging in discussions or debates with someone that I'm not familiar with, my main goal, and this may take five different debates or discussions or whatever before I actually zero in. It's a huge difference for me whether someone is deceptive and deliberately, knowingly deceptive, and whether someone is sincere but wrong. You are like universes apart in my book. So when I'm having discussions with some initial, if I don't know them, if I don't know these guys, what is this? Their argument only works against Sunni Muslims. It's useless against the true Islam. Yeah, these guys, for anyone who doesn't know, these guys believe, yeah, they believe they're the only real Muslims. Doesn't work against true Islam. Anyway, so for initial discussions, my main concern is figuring out, is this person in the deceiver category or the sincere but wrong category? And so we're having this debate with these guys, and I don't know if they're sincere. I don't know if they're just this wrong. I mean, I can't think of a verse they quoted accurately. I can't think of one. And so are they just massively misinterpreting everything? And they're just like, it's built into their mindset now to misinterpret everything, but they kind of can't help it. Or do they know they're being deceptive? So that's kind of what I'm looking for. And I don't know yet. I would have to have more interactions with these guys before I figure this out. But then, hey, put that little tweet up.
Oh, you mean the other one here?
Yeah. Okay. Now that's flat out deceptive. Again, if it was just a random person, wouldn't care. When they retweet that, great quality debate from True Islam team. Last defense of opponents were to declare Ahmadis as non-Muslim. AP, is that not the exact opposite of what I said? You said that. I said the opposite. What? So we had a disagreement about at the end.
Let me play it. Actually, let me play it. Let's see. Where is that? Let me play it right away.
So, long story short, these guys know. I said I believe I've spent years defending Ahmadis as true Muslims, and then what do they retweet? Oh, yes, David says that we're not true Muslims. That was his only defense.
Their arguments were absolutely horrible.
Among the worst I've ever seen for any position ever. And we've been engaging with Dawa guys for a long. So when you set the new when you raise the bar as far as the terribleness of your arguments, and we've been dealing with Dawa guys for all these years, my goodness, man.
Yeah, let's play this. Let's see.
He just kept messing up. Oops.
All right, guys. That will conclude the Q&A. Appreciate you guys' time and efforts in this debate. It was fun. I learned a lot. I'm sure the live chat, should I say, learned a lot as well. And appreciate the respect and honor you guys showed towards each other. Once again, even though we're diving into some serious and sensitive subject matter, but would you guys like to have a couple words to say before I let you guys go? I start with David and AP.
Oh, pause it. He kind of, one, we didn't know this was going to happen. Two, I didn't know what he was talking about. Right? I'm like sitting here getting ready to send out texts and stuff like that, and then he's like, "You got anything else you'd want to say?" And I'm thinking, like, about what? like is like thoughts on the debates? Is it another like just last minute like conclusion? Is it my thoughts on our opponents or whatever? So I was like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm supposed to talk about, but it's funny because then I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice. And I say, hey, you know, guys, I don't think you have great arguments, but, you know, I've been defending Ahmadis for years. I think I said something like that. And then you took that as an opportunity to say Ahmadis aren't real Muslims because you're kind of piggybacking off of me. I just gave my perspective. You're like, well, I don't agree with that, which is like, so anyway.
I was a little bit pissed at this point. And also,
I don't know why you'd be pissed. You were schooling them the whole time.
Mocking.
Yeah, glad we could have this. Glad we could have this discussion. I have mixed feelings about Ahmadis. On the one hand, I've been actually defending for years that Ahmadis do meet the requirements of true Muslims and so on. With that said, we obviously have a lot of disagreements on various passages. But you were mentioning that you might want to have other discussions and so on. If you ever want to come on our channel for a discussion about something specific, happy to have you.
Pause that real quick. What the heck did I just say there? Guys, I've been defending for years the view that you guys, Ahmadis, are real Muslims. We obviously have our disagreements on some arguments, but if you want to come out, you mentioned, because they mentioned at some point that, yes, we would be willing to discuss that. I said, hey, if you want to come on our channel to discuss that, we can have that discussion. What do they tweet? The only defense was that Ahmadis are not true Muslims. And it's like, whoa, you just I wasn't sure which category you were in. Now you really seem like you're in the deceiver category.
Yeah, this is funny, by the way. You are in there as Dr. David Wood. He is Dr. Tahir Nasser, Dr. Umar Nasser, and I just logged in as AP. That's yeah.
You should have had him put Dr. Prophet or something.
Yeah, I just typed AP and then I just left it like.
Oh, you did that.
Yeah, I did that.
Oh, okay. You should have put apostate prophet, the true prophet. You should have put the true prophet up there.
When the screens were made bigger, when the two of us were on the screen, it said apostate prophet AP. That's what he wrote. But as for me, for myself, I just wrote AP there. That's it. Anyway,
happy to have you.
So you were quite nice to these people,
Yeah,
and then I jump in, and then I jump in, and I say
you totally derailed it.
And I say this. Yeah, I'm very happy to have this debate. It was very nice. It went over quite respectfully compared to the debates that we usually have or discussions we have with actual Muslims. That said, I don't agree.
What's wrong with you, man?
I only noticed afterwards when I said with actual Muslims, I see you start grinning and suppressing it. Or discussions we have with actual Muslims. That said, I don't agree that Ahmadis are actual Muslims. I think that Ahmadiyya is a sect that grossly misrepresents Islam while also grossly misrepresenting and distorting biblical beliefs in general. So, although I would say that that Islam is all over quite wicked and modern Muslim apologetics are very, very messed up, I agree with them on one point, which is that Ahmadiyya is complete nonsense. To have another discussion.
What's wrong with you, man?
One point, which is that Ahmadiyya is complete nonsense. However, I would agree, of course, to have another discussion and another debate in the future. Definitely.
Definitely. Such a good deal.
It does sound a bit harsh.
It did sound. This is supposed to be the end. This is supposed to be the end when we're like, hey, yeah, great debate, guys. Shake hands. And you're like, you guys are the worst of the worst. You're Muslims. I agree. Now I understand why other Muslims persecute you. I approve of it. But they should persecute you more. You're basically Hamas. Huh?
You noticed one thing. So in the beginning, when we did the whole opening statement, I was totally focused on the topic. Only did that, didn't get rude or anything. But then, as soon as we were done, and the guy started jumping in, I don't know when was that? Was it here in the beginning of his response? I think he started like getting very loud and weird. Let's see.
Over the first one in particular. Can you hear me? Has my time started?
Yes. I could stop it and restart it. Let me restart it for you.
Yeah, just stop me start. Yeah, great. That's perfect.
Okay. Yeah, we can see you. We can hear you, and we can see the slides. Yes.
Nice. So basically, I just want to do a quick thing because I mean he's completely misrepresented the prophecy of Deuteronomy, and the reason he's misrepresented it is because he can put whatever spin he wants on it. But the reality is that God demonstrated with the prophet Hananiah, which is what we reference from Jeremiah, that actually God killed the false prophet. So he can put whatever spin he wants on it, like, oh, you should kill the false prophet, and that's a commandment to you. But that's not what it says in the verse of Deuteronomy 18:20-21. It says that prophet shall die. That's a statement of fact. Okay. The second point is that God's practice, what God did with the prophet Hananiah, who's a false prophet, he killed him. But there's even a greater argument in all of that, which is that Jesus himself convicted the Jews for killing for killing the prophets. Jesus continuously berated the Jews, saying, "Why did you kill the prophets? Why did you seek to kill the prophets? And you killed this prophet, and you killed this prophet." What he should have been doing is congratulating them on killing false prophets. Because presumably the instruction from David Wood's perspective and Apostate Ridwan's perspective is that if they should try to kill them, if they're a false prophet, they will be successful. That's why it tells you to kill them.
This is so stupid. I can't believe that they decided to stick to the very same argument from the beginning of the debate to the end of the debate, when we beat it to death, and there was no single point where they remotely established that the verse in question implies that that a prophet must die at the hands of Allah, and if he dies, then this proves that he's not a true prophet. They never established such a thing, but he kept assuming that we have agreed to that, which is why we were unable to prove that Muhammad was a false prophet. It's so stupid.
Yeah, let me break down for anyone who didn't see the debate, or for people who didn't follow the reasoning here. In Deuteronomy 18, right? That's the favorite passage of Muslim apologists. They go to, that's the passage they go to, and they go to verse 15 and verse 18 of chapter 18 of the book of Deuteronomy, and claim that the prophet who is supposed to be like Moses is actually Muhammad. These guys go to verse 20 as well, but they give it a reading, which I always go to that verse. When Muslims bring up Deuteronomy 18, I always go to verse 20, and I say that Muhammad can't be a prophet according to this verse. So in Deuteronomy 18:20, you got these two criteria. If a prophet speaks in the names of other gods or delivers a revelation that didn't actually come from God, he's a false prophet. And it says that prophet shall die. That prophet shall die, right? They argue that when it's saying that prophet shall die means if you've done these things, you're going to drop dead. You're going to drop dead. God's going to strike you down. God's going to strike you down. And then they say, aha, but Muhammad didn't get struck down. Therefore, he's a true prophet. So I responded, I say, well, if you go back just a few chapters to Deuteronomy 13, this is in the context of if a false prophet tries to lead you astray and tell you to go after other gods, you execute him. You execute him. So in other words, once you get to Deuteronomy 18, it's already established in 13, this is talking about a public execution, because that prophet shall die. That's ambiguous. If that's all you had to go on, you can interpret that as he's going to drop dead. So you could interpret it the way they're interpreting it. Or it could mean you're going to execute him, because it says that in various cases in Deuteronomy where there is to be an execution, you say that man shall die. So I point out, hey, right here, that's the context. The context, which they always have a big problem with, the context is an execution. A false prophet would be executed. So when you get to chapter 18 and it says that prophet shall die, it's talking about executing him, right? So that's their argument in a nutshell, is constantly defending the claim that since Muhammad wasn't struck down instantly or very soon, since he was allowed to go on for a number of years, that means he's a true prophet. And at some point, I went on to point out, I was like, do you have any idea how many false prophets lived into their 90s and so on? Just look up people who claim to be the Messiah or claim to be a prophet and so on, just in the 20th century. You can get a list. Sun Myung Moon, all those guys. And they lots of those lived to be very old. So according to these guys, that would make all of them prophets. So anyway, guys, the argument, their overarching argument is if a person claims to be a prophet and he's not, he's going to be struck down and die. So if a person claims to be a prophet and he isn't struck down by God, he's a true prophet. You need to obey him. And that is so insanely ridiculous that I don't even know what to, if you don't understand how ridiculous that is, I don't even know how to communicate with you if you're that silly. And of course, the flip side, which they go to, is if someone who claims to be a prophet or who claims to be the Messiah or speaks for God gets killed, then that would mean he's a false prophet. And so then they started mocking Jesus for that. But Jesus got killed. According to you, Jesus got killed. You see, Jesus got killed. Ha ha ha. And these guys were it's good. I like the true colors coming out though. They were very quick to mock and insult God. They mocked God. They mocked Jesus. They mocked Christianity. Mock. I like it. AP, we are good at making people reveal their true colors. I have to say that. We get them. They come. Yes. They come. Oh, look at me, I'm the nice guy. 5 minutes later, we see the true colors.
Yeah. He also argued at some point that so this here, I like this Bible hub because
it's not the only hub. Right. Is Goat Hub here? I'm assuming we're gonna get a
yeah, definitely gonna get a response to that. I like it because you can go on the words here and search through the Bible and cross check any word. He made the claim that when it says here in Deuteronomy 18:15, from among your brothers, he made the claim that this brothers in every other situation in the Bible refers to not your community, but the community other than outside your community. So I thought, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. So I go on here as we speak and click on this. And see, it occurs also in Deuteronomy 24:14 in the exact same way. And what does it say? You shall not oppress a hired servant, poor and needy, whether he is one of your brothers or of the foreigners, of the aliens, of the strangers. So Tahir, when he argued that this word here only refers to those outside your own community whenever it appears, lied or misrepresented it. Because here, in this case, this is clearly presenting a dichotomy between your brothers, so your own community, and foreigners. And in this case, it is used for your community, your brothers. So he is wrong. It doesn't. The use of this word does not necessitate that this must be referring to non-Israelites. On the contrary,
it never does.
Likely to refer to Israelites themselves, which is what you can see very easily when you just read the context. Look, I did this thing very recently. I got this the Bible in book by book separate form. Here's Deuteronomy. Very nicely pick it up. Deuteronomy 18. You can very easily, very, very briefly pick this up and read the context here. It is instructions for the Israelites themselves because they asked to communicate with God and are about to take over and encounter different people who don't worship God. So God gives them instructions on how to act, and also says, "I will raise for you among yourselves, your brethren, your own community, a prophet like Moses." Could that be referring to Muhammad? No, that's stupid. It's a ridiculously stupid suggestion. And they kept arguing that. It's just so dumb.
It was extremely dumb. And I went to the previous chapter, Deuteronomy 17. So they're quoting Deuteronomy 18. And guys, not joking. He said that this can't refer, that the phrase from your brothers or from among your brethren, that phrase can't refer to your fellow Israelites. It has to refer to a different group, namely, in this case, the Ishmaelites. And so I quoted Deuteronomy 17 because he said this can't possibly apply to your fellow Israelites. I quoted Deuteronomy 17 where it's talking about choosing a king. And I pointed out, wait a minute, he specifically says when you choose a king, you have to choose a king from your countrymen and not a foreigner. It's like, are you seriously claiming that God was ordering them to choose an Ishmaelite as their king? And that they got it wrong? They went with Saul and David and the whole line. They got it wrong. They were supposed to be getting Ishmaelites to lead over them and so on. And so AP, it really seems like, this is my overall assessment of the Ahmadis. They get an idea about some reasoning that comes down from their leaders, whoever their leaders are, from Mirza Ghulam and to his successors and so on. They plant an argument in their head, and it makes sense in their heads. It's just not what the text is saying at all, right? So they'll plant the reasoning in there. They'll say, look, right here, it says, if a prophet does these things, he shall die. Oh, you see, this is saying that anyone who does that will die. And therefore, if someone doesn't die, then he didn't do the things. And therefore, Muhammad couldn't have delivered a revelation that didn't come from God, because if he had, God would have killed him instantly. And they'll cling to that. And when you show them, guys, why don't you just read what this actually says? It's not saying any of that. They can't accept it, because to accept what you're saying would be a challenge to their entire community. It would be a challenge to the leadership of the Ahmadi community. In other words, their cult would come crumbling to the ground if you prove they're wrong on these arguments. Because there are certain arguments that an individual can come up with, and there are arguments that are built into the system, and you can't bring down the argument without bringing down the system. So along these lines, a Muslim can reject the claim of perfect dot for dot, letter for letter preservation of the Quran. You could do that because why? Because that's an argument you guys made up. Yeah, you've got Quran 15:9, which says that Allah is going to protect the word and stuff like that. But you don't have to interpret that as dot for dot, letter for letter. So when someone exposes that argument, you can reject the argument. You can have the holes in the narrative argument. You can have the holes in the narrative interview and say, okay, it was actually bogus. It was actually bogus. You can't say that about something like the argument that Muhammad is in the Bible. Why? That one is actually straight out of the Quran, that Muhammad has to be there. So you can dismiss an argument that some guy makes up at some point. You can't dismiss an argument that is built into your religion or your sect. And so this is an argument that's built into their sect for them to agree with us just by which all you need to do is like read the passages. Like, keep in mind, it should go like this. That prophet shall die. You see, my leaders have told us that this is proof that Muhammad's a true prophet. Then once you actually read, this is in the context of it's saying he would be executed by the community there for being a false prophet. No, it can't be that. Well, it's exactly what it says. That is word for word what it says. No, it can't say that. It can't possibly say that. Why? Because if it does say that, then that means all your leaders are wrong and your sect is wrong. And you can't acknowledge that. So you cling to it and start mocking.
Yes. And again, I brought up the point during the debate several times. They didn't want to take it seriously or respond to the point at all. But I mentioned how from early Jewish history, from early Jewish writings, and then from Christian history, it is interpreted in this very clear way, the way we understand it. It's very absurd, very, very ridiculous, laughable for them to come along after thousands of years of serious Jewish scholarship and Christian scholarship to then say, no, they all got it wrong. They all got it wrong. Let us explain what it actually means. It doesn't actually say what it clearly says. It actually says something different. I can't explain to you why, but it actually says something different. You all got it wrong.
You all got it wrong. And how do you know this? How do you know we all got it wrong? Well, because this leader of my sect said so.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, I would have to say that's, if you wanted to challenge whether they are Muslims, it would be that they're putting their loyalty in a person to reinterpret Islamic scriptures for them. The reason I do not say they're not Muslims because of that is what I see from all Muslims. So I see every Muslim doing. Every Muslim is like, oh, here's my idea. Let me twist the Quran to make it say what I want. But notice they do the exact same thing with the Bible, right? It's here's what the leader of my sect claims that this means, and therefore, even if the actual book completely contradicts what I'm saying, it means so much for that. My leader says that it means this. And so their loyalty is to their sect, not to the Bible, not to the Quran, not to God, not to Jesus, not to Muhammad. Loyalty is not to any of that. Their loyalty is to the leaders of their sect. And so that is where you'd point out that that's cult-like behavior.
It's so funny because I mentioned before that I actually talked to somebody who claimed that he is the second coming of Jesus and also the Mahdi and everything at
If he
once.
doesn't die, then he's true.
He's an old man. He's still alive. In fact,
What?
he makes posts, he tweets, and things
You
like
have
that.
to obey him.
So
I hear from those guys. By the way, I hear from those guys all the time. They message me and they're like, David, I'm the Messiah. Here's the proof. And they give me this 10 pages of the proof. And they're like, hey, you should support me on your channel and believe in me. And I'm like, and then I'll go click on this channel and be like 17 followers and stuff. I'm like, yeah, come back when you got a bit more than that.
Man.
God's not telling you to kill everybody you suspect of being a false prophet who might be true in actual fact. The other point I want to make is that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, people tried to kill him. People tried to kill him all the time. You can actually say that people tried to kill him more than the Prophet Jesus by a long shot. And the great example is, for example, with the incident of the poisoning. There was the Prophet Muhammad.
I can't believe they brought this up.
By poisoning. A Jewish woman gave him a leg of meat, and he ate of that meat along with his companions, including one companion called Bishr ibn al-Bara' ibn Ma'rur al-Ansari. And Bishr
that was a lot.
Died the same day as eating that meat. So God gave us a clear example of what death from an assassination attempt looks like. The Prophet Muhammad himself.
By the way, notice what he leaves out here. Bishr, according to the story, Muhammad puts some of the food in his mouth, and then Bishr puts the meat in his mouth, and he thinks it tastes weird. He thinks it tastes weird. He thinks it tastes like it's poison. He looks across and sees Muhammad. Well, Muhammad's got some of it. So surely it can't be poison because Muhammad is sitting there with gnawing on a piece of this. So then Bishr turns green, starts dying, and that's when Muhammad says, "I have a revelation. It has been poison." It's like, wait a minute, a guy could taste it. He could taste the poison. Why would you need a revelation when you could taste the poison? So Muhammad sees his buddy dying and spits his out. And they're saying, you see, this is miraculous that he's. What are you talking about? Muhammad sees a guy drop dead in front of him. And he said, "Oh, I better not eat this." And they say, "You see, this is the proof that he's a true prophet. That's the proof that he's." And by the way, he eventually dies of this.
Hey, wait a minute. What is this?
That's the proof.
This is a very important thing. I completely missed this.
That's very good.
Capturing Christianity said, "Be honest. Who would you rather look and talk like?"
Okay. Click on
Apologies, David or Mike Winger.
Yeah, click on that. Click on. I would prefer to resemble David. So look at your options. I would prefer to resemble Dr. Wood, or I'm a huge nerd. I choose Winger. I like these choices. These are good.
Oh.
Don't
Let me click on this one just to see what the results are.
We're winning, ladies and gentlemen. We're winning versus the Wingalings. The Wingaling empire is crumbling.
Yeah. I just want to clarify. I only clicked on this just to see what the results are. Okay. Not for any different reason. That's why I clicked on this.
I don't know. Some people could interpret this as you want to be a nerd.
That would be absurd. I only clearly clicked on this to see the results. Huh. Interesting. Anyway.
That meat. And he was saved. God did not enable him to be, did not permit him to die.
Oh,
and when the prophet called the woman and asked her why he had tried to poison her, she said, "If you were a prophet, it would not harm you. But if you were a king, I should rid the people of you."
What did it say? Would not harm you. Did it harm him, AP?
Yes.
Yeah. And I have to... To be fair, what this woman thinks is not terribly relevant, but they put it on there of like her thoughts are confirmation that he's a true prophet. Oh, if you were a prophet, it would not harm you. Oh, you see, it didn't harm him. That makes him a true prophet. One, I don't really. She's not authority. She's not an authority on who is and who is not a prophet. But if you're going with that, if you're a prophet, it would not harm you. It did harm him, and then he died from it. It just took a couple of years because it did internal damage.
Alhamdulillah.
He continued to experience some pain on his palate and uvula for many years, but the reality is that he, in fact, survived.
So it did harm him.
Okay. Aren't these two guys doctors?
Yep.
There is one thing that needs to be clarified. I think one of them is actually on psychology, but whatever. The two are doctors.
Oh,
So
that's better. I was thinking I wouldn't trust these guys with a scalpel. I wouldn't trust their prophet. I wouldn't trust their fake prophet with my dinner because you'll die from it. And I wouldn't trust these guys with the scalpel because how do I know if their leader's not like, oh, just ignore everything that's in the medical books and do what Mirza Ghulam Ahmed says? And I'm like, what the heck? And they do it.
David, I want to ask you a question.
Mhm.
If you are poisoned, if somebody's poisoned, right?
Mhm.
What is the actual thing that comes last in the sequence of causes that bring your death? Is it the poison or the harm to your body that results from the poison?
Yeah, you end up with some organs failing. I mean, there's all kinds of things, but
So it's the harm, right? So
Yeah.
it's not the poison directly that causes your death.
yeah,
it
it
is
screws up your system.
it is the damage caused to your system that eventually leads to death. It is the effect,
Yeah.
the result of being poisoned. So in this case, if Muhammad takes the poison, and he actually is then harmed, and he himself complains of the harm for years,
Mhm.
and even in his deathbed says that he's feeling the pain of the poison that he ate. Doesn't this mean, if we are supposed to trust Muhammad as a proper prophet and trust his word, doesn't this mean that he is telling us clearly that the poison is what basically crippled or harmed him and eventually caused his death?
That's exactly what he said. He said it has cut off my aorta, or it has severed my aorta. So this is Muhammad saying this is what's killing me. And these guys, oh, it never harmed him. what planet? What's hilarious is they're the ones who brought this up. They clearly planned to bring this up because he had slides on it. He had slides ready on it. We didn't bring it up. They brought it up as an example of someone trying to kill Muhammad and failing. And their entire example is someone who tried to kill Muhammad and succeeded. So guys, if you're not familiar with the whole argument here, it's basically go to Surah 69, 44 to 46, or they have the Ahmadis have a numbering system that's off by one. But you go to this passage, and Allah says if Muhammad had delivered a false revelation, he would sever his aorta. Well, irony, Muhammad years later dies saying he can feel his aorta being severed. So we put that together. We're like, hey, wait a minute. Allah says this is how he would kill him. Then Muhammad dies like that. What's that mean? They somehow look at the exact same passage and say, you see, this is the proof that he's a true prophet. Why? Based on some of I'm trying to think what it's based. It's based on a bunch of things. It's based on a number. It's based on completely misunderstanding and misrepresenting Deuteronomy 18:20, completely misrepresenting this passage here, completely misrepresenting the actual story, and rejecting Muhammad, who says that this is what he's dying from. And they're like, no, you idiot, that's not what you died from, liar, lying prophet.
Yep.
And little side note, I mentioned this during the debate, but in Sunan Ibn Majah, Aisha said, Sahih narration, Aisha said that she never saw anyone in as much agony as Muhammad was leading up to his death because of the pain. Because of the pain, he said the pain was from the poison. So this poison caused Muhammad to go through more pain and agony than anyone Aisha ever saw in her life. And she saw a lot in her life. So this is their example of someone not being harmed.
Yeah. Aisha looked at Muhammad and said,
"You're sick. You're sick."
Yeah.
And then they're like, ding dong, Muhammad's dead. Hey, let's go find some pages of the Quran that we don't like and feed them to a goat.
Yep, that's what happened. Benny Born Again said, well, if it isn't the two small lines. Yeah. Ayatollah Khamenei is a good thing. Nothing important is happening tonight. I don't know. I think I'm going to keep this live stream short because when is that? When is the debate?
Someone said 40 minutes earlier, so
I'm not sure I'm actually going to watch it. I don't really care that much, honestly, except maybe I will later on watch clips and see how terrible it was. Did it start already? The Trump-Biden debate? I don't know. I don't care. White Lily.
You've got people here who would rather spend this time with us. So
White Lily said,
Oh, that was the correct number of M's too. So
yeah. Ayatollah Khamenei said, "Oh Allah, protector of the shaitan who farts in our eyes, please bless the two Ahmadis in the refutation of these two kafir." David Kazuma, the dragon of apologetics, said, "TikTok, time to rock. Hello, both of the great polemicists of our time." No,
hey, you missed that cool picture he had.
I saw. Yeah,
That was
no,
a
I clicked away.
beast.
Lloyd444 said, "Watch your last debate and you both won easily. Imagine if your opponents were up against an intellectual apologetic giant like Mike Winger. How much worse for them it would have been. I know that would be unthinkable. Unthinkable. I can't even imagine it. Mossad's leather
Can you
sound.
can you imagine Mike Winger though? He'd be like,
Well, if you want to say that Muhammad died from this poisoning, this would remind me of Star Trek 2 at the end when we see Spock enduring great radiation poisoning in his effort to save the ship. And this was a very painful death, similar to Muhammad.
that you'd have to endure that the entire debate.
How do you know that?
What?
How do
You
you
gotta
know that?
you gotta study this stuff if you want to make fun of nerds, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense, of course.
Could you imagine making fun of like a mathematician, but you don't know any math? Like how you gonna mock him accurately?
I already accepted that it's a fair point. This is good. I hope to hear some sound reasoning for child marriage from the Muslim doctor and psychiatrist in this debate. Inshallah, soon. Yeah.
Now, the 3 years, in actual fact, he continued to live. Now, Bishr ibn al-Bara, who died with him, who was his companion, he was what is known as a positive control. God gave us a positive control of what a positive assassination attempt looks like. And he died the same day. The Prophet Muhammad.
A positive control.
You mean the guy actually, Muhammad noticed it and then he spit the thing out and suffered from it? That was positive control. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that guy. And keep in mind, that guy died because he trusted Muhammad. That guy died. He told Muhammad that as he's dying, he said, "I wanted to spit it out because it tasted weird and I thought something's in it. But I didn't want, one, I trusted you as a prophet. But two, I didn't want to make," he said, "I didn't want to make your food unrelishing to you." Meaning, if you see me spitting food out, but you like it, then I might actually be guilty of ruining your dinner. And I don't want to do that. So this guy actually died for that. And these guys are taking this as he's the control experiment from God. So God killed this guy just to make a point about Muhammad dying.
Hey, you know
slowly?
what?
What?
I'm only noticing now because I didn't pay attention to this very much when we were debating. But he prepared this slide in advance, just because he assumed that you would be making this argument on Muhammad being poisoned, and or they just took this whole first rebuttal phase as a continuation of their opening, basically, and went with this slide here, which borders on gish galloping and bringing up things that we never even talked about to distract from the topic.
Several of the things they said in their rebuttal, especially their first rebuttal, were things we didn't say, and so it was all basically. I mean, they were straw manning a lot of things, and the opponent said this. I was like, what? We didn't mention that at all. So what happened was, these guys made their opening statement and then prepared a response to what they thought we were going to say. And then we didn't say it, although we could have, but we said, I mean, we responded to their main arguments and so on. But anyway, we didn't say it. And then they proceeded as if we had.
Yeah.
Knowing that their fans are too dumb to notice.
You know what I was very I mean, a little bit of self-praise. I was impressed actually by one thing, which is that you especially, but we together, we refused to get distracted from the topic of Muhammad and to be sidetracked into the whole discussion on, well, who is this prophet? And, you know, why is it Jesus and all that? They kept changing the topic and talking about that. And you said repeatedly, you know, that has nothing to do with our topic. Yeah. So and we brought it back. So that was very good. We stayed on topic.
Yeah, guys, that's an important thing. There are people who like to lead you down various trails and so on to divert you from the topic. And one of the things that they will do if they're talking to a Christian is start attacking Christianity, mocking Christianity, because then you're supposed to jump in there and then spend all your time defending Christianity when that's not the topic. That's not the topic. And so they would say, yes, well, if Muhammad's not the prophet like Moses, who was? And it was, doesn't matter. Could be anyone. Right here in Acts, it says it was about Jesus. But even if you want to reject that, this isn't this. We're not talking about who fulfills this prophecy. We're pointing out that it can't possibly be Muhammad, according to the text itself, as long as you don't completely massacre it.
It was based.
What he did between that poisoning and his death ultimately 3 years later, he did the Battle of Khaybar, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, the conquest of Makkah, the Battle of Hunain, the expedition to Tabuk, the farewell pilgrimage, completion of the revelation of the Quran, and then death of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, after completing the entire Quran. So that's, they're trying to make out like, oh, well, nobody tried to kill the Prophet Muhammad. That's absolutely and utterly false.
Who said that? Wait, did you hear that? That's what I was talking about.
Did we ever say that?
No, that's what I'm saying. They tried to misrepresent it and say, on what planet? This is what I'm talking about. You can listen to this guy for 30 seconds and he will say that we said something that we didn't say. What are you talking about? Like what in the name of common sense? And that's a problem. And so again, if I were normally listening to this, I would be thinking, okay, is this guy stupid and not just able to follow? He's just not able to follow arguments, or he mishears things or something like that.
And I actually
or is he misrepresenting, or is he deliberately misrepresenting things?
I actually sat down here and ripped out several pages of my little notebook, which I dedicated to this great extent just to write down notes as they were speaking, to respond to anything they brought up, anything that was wrong. Made notes the entire time. It looks like they didn't listen to a single thing that we actually said in our opening statement. So why did they sit down to debate us? Yeah.
That's the weird part.
It's one thing for people to try and kill the Prophet Muhammad. Surely it's God's responsibility to make sure that those attempts are successful. And in this particular case, that's absolutely not the case. God absolutely permitted him to live. The second point I want to make is regarding the satanic verses. These satanic verses are a pure fabrication. And we know they're a any religion, right? Let me explain. Firstly, what these people he did was pregnant with which she miscarried.
Emma, when did he start getting really loud and insulting?
It can sound, then he compromises with idolatry. This is the kind of logic that these people have. And instead they rely upon this on this so-called hadith. It's not a hadith. It has no reliable chain of narration, and it's also mathematically impossible. We know it's mathematically impossible because
it has multiple reliable chains of transmission.
He said it's mathematically impossible.
Of this particular so-called event, the Muslims who were in Abyssinia, who had migrated in Rajab 5 Nabawi, they then came back according to this so-called story. Now, due to the distance and the time frame,
he actually said it's mathematically impossible. Then he made a mistake in recounting the sequence of events.
It would have taken.
So let me just tell people what he's talking about there. I noticed that he made a mistake, and he puts this in the Medinan period. I don't care. It's not relevant when he's delivering the satanic verses. What's relevant is that he delivered the satanic verses. But guys, so the story is you had some Muslims who, in order to flee persecution, went to Abyssinia. Then Muhammad delivered. So Muhammad's feeling bad. The community's crumbling and his tribe won't accept Islam. And so he's longing for a revelation to bring the people, to stop the persecution and to bring the people back. So he gets the revelation saying that you can now pray to Allat, Alus, and Manat. Then Muhammad bows down in honor of this revelation promoting polytheism. His followers bowed down with him. The pagans also bowed down. Then word gets sent to the Muslims who are in Abyssinia. Guys, the pagans are now good with us. The polytheists are now good with us. We can all come back. So they come back. So what he's saying here is the story is mathematically impossible because the people fled, the Muslims fled to Abyssinia during the Meccan period, but it's in the Medinan period. And then, of course, a couple minutes later, he's going to say, oops, it wasn't actually the Medinan period. It was the Meccan period. And wait, why is it mathematically impossible then? Anyway, this is what we're dealing with. This is
so it's pretty stupid.
It would not have been possible for them to have traveled there and traveled back in the period of time during which this particular story was concocted since they had left. And so what we know, therefore, is that this story makes absolutely no sense. It has absolutely no basis. As for the God of the Bible and Elohim, I think they really haven't done their research very well. And the simple reason is there's so many names in the Bible given for God. And the basic name of God is actually a few. There's actually not just Elohim. There's Yahweh, there's Elohim.
Now,
that's dumb.
I made this very clear later on in the debate, but
you made it very clear in your opening. Then you made it even clearer.
There is a big difference that these people do not understand. It's because of the ignorance. the ignorance of Islam and the ignorance that you get when you follow Islam, because Islam is pure ignorance. There is a difference between the title of God and the name of God. Elohim is not a name. Allah is not a name, or should not be a name. In Islam, unfortunately, it is. Ilah is not a name. Lord is not a name. When these guys say Elohim is a name, that would mean that that the word God in English is also the name of God. It's not. That's a title. That's a word you use in order to refer to that God. The God of the Bible makes it very, very obvious in the Bible itself many times. So many times. If you believe in it or not, it doesn't matter. According to the Bible, the name of that God is very clear. It's Yahweh. That's it.
Yeah. So what you find, ladies and gentlemen, is you have, titles like Lord, like in the regular sense, and then God, gods, but terms like this, like Elohim, they're not just used of the one God. They're used of false gods. They're used of angels. They're used of even human judges in the Psalms. Can be called Elohim as representatives and so on. So this is not a name. This is not a name. It's like saying, oh, here's a guy, but then you find out his name. And so AP's pointing out, hey, in the Bible, you're told, hey guys, I'm actually revealing my name to you. So yeah, you can refer to God by all these terms and so on, but he says, hey, guess what? I'm telling you my name. And Muhammad doesn't seem to know it at all, except by accident, by accidentally including the name in the names of prophets.
Yep, which is pretty stupid.
It's unbased.
Very non-based. So here we have it. And Moses said unto God, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel and shall say unto them, the God of your fathers hath sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name? What shall I say to them? 14. And God said to Moses, I am that I am. And he said, thus shall you say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. And God moreover said to Moses, thus shall you say to the children of Israel, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, has sent me to you. The Lord here is Yahweh. It is just capital Lord in English because of the Jewish tradition of not spelling out, not pronouncing the actual name, Yahweh, and using a title like Adonai, Lord, instead in Hebrew. In English, this tradition is continued with an English word instead, Lord. In different languages, a different word that corresponds to that is used. However, the name here is very, very clear, and we can demonstrate that here with another analysis on Bible Hub, where it shows the text, the Hebrew, and the pronunciation. We can find here in Exodus 3:15. It says, and God also said, you shall say, here, look, Yahweh, Yahweh, right here. Yahweh, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever. And by this name I should be remembered for generations. This is what it says. And this is not the only part in the Bible where it says this. It says it's one of the most, it is the most important reference to this name, but it's not the only part where this is mentioned. The Bible repeatedly says, I am Yahweh. I am Yahweh. My name is Yahweh. It repeatedly says that. However, we have Muslims here who are not aware of this because Islam is not aware of this. So they're like, oh, it's just one of the many names, like Elohim and all that. No. That's stupid.
There's El Shaddai, which means God Almighty, or the Mighty One of Jacob. There's Adonai, Lord, Master. There's El Roy, meaning the God who sees. El Elyon.
Look how arrogant he acts when he's like, Adonai, yeah. You don't know what you're talking about, man.
Hey, by the way, didn't I tell you that about? That's just something I picked up on over years. Didn't I tell you that about Ahmadis before the debate? I was like, hey, they're generally better behaved and have better manners, except in one area. They're the most arrogant of Muslims. I'm not saying every single Ahmadi and so on. I'm saying just
in the community, I don't know, their view of themselves is massively boosted even beyond regular Muslims, because you have Muslims who they believe they're the best of peoples ever raised up for mankind. So it's built into the system. You're superior to all these other groups, all these polytheists and all these compromisers and so on. You're the best of the people. But then these guys believe that God has chosen their sect as the only true sect and rejected all the others. And so they're like the best of the best. And they let you know it by the way they act, as you can see here.
Yeah, they act very, very, very based. That's what they do. That's what they do.
On the Most High God, there's the Lord will provide. There are compound names as well. And the key point is, in actual fact, is very interesting, is that God in the Bible itself, in Psalms 144, verse 9, he says, I will sing a new song unto thee, O God. Upon a psaltery and an instrument of 10 strings will I sing praises unto thee. God himself says that in that time there will be a new Sharia. And
I don't know why this just stuck out to me when he said this point here. And I thought, wait, what are you talking about? Because he read this completely wrong.
You think?
Is it just me who has such a strong reaction to what he's saying here?
It's like most of the stuff he's saying, I'm like, this is it's too much to respond to. Like, okay, pick what I'm going to respond to and stuff. So it's good that you actually wanted to jump on that, because I was just, okay, that's dumb. Let me.
Because this is a very Islamic way of looking at the Bible, and shows to me that these people don't study anything that they're talking about, don't study the Bible, don't understand it. They just look at it from an Islamic perspective and go with it. That's it. But he actually brought up Psalm 144. Let's have him say this once again. Let's see.
I sing a new song. The key point is, an actual high God, there's the Lord will provide. There are compound names as well. And the key point is, in actual fact, is very interesting, is that God in the Bible itself, in Psalms 144, verse 9, he says, I will sing a new song unto thee, O God. Upon a psaltery and an instrument of 10 strings will I sing praises unto thee. God himself says that in that time there will be a new Sharia.
So, according to him,
new Sharia. But
according to him,
dude, this is, break this down carefully, because this is like the perfect, I mean, it's the perfect example of like Ahmadi reasoning. Oh, it says a new song. You see, this is talking about a new Sharia. Who else could this be? This is going to be Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. It's like, oh, are you kidding me, man?
He's citing Psalm 144 and says, and here in Psalm 144, God says, in verse 9, God says, I will sing a new song to you.
God, I will sing
Psalm
a new
144 is a psalm of David. Okay, this is
a musician.
It's David writing it as a song, as a praise to God. In verse 9 here, it's not God saying, I will sing a new song to you. It is David saying, God, I will sing a new song to you on a harp of 10 strings.
On a harp of 10 strings, I will make Sharia. Wait, what?
Who gives salvation to kings. If this was God speaking, God would be saying, I will sing a new song to you on a harp of 10 strings. I will sing praises to you. Who gives salvation to kings? Who is God praising? Who is God describing as someone who is salvation to kings and all that? No, that's not what this is about. This is David speaking to God and saying, God, I will sing a new song to you. This guy presents it the wrong way. He presents it as if it was the Quran, as if, because in the Quran it is believed that every single verse is the direct word spoken by Allah. So he reads the psalm in that very same way and says, God says, I will sing it. No, it's not like that. It is David saying this.
Yeah, guys. So keep this in mind. Let's read this little passage here, because this is the perfect example of how they interpret Scripture. This is a perfect example of what this is. In other words, this is what they're doing every time. This is what they're doing every time. AP just called them out on this. This is what they're doing every time they quote the Bible. Right. So, guys, just imagine reading this passage. And if you've read through the Psalms, or some people read through the Psalms every year or more than once and so on, you're familiar with this passage. But this is David, the musician who becomes king, but he says, God, I will sing a new song to you. On a harp of 10 strings, I will sing praises to you. Who gives
salvation to kings, who rescues his servant David from the evil sword. Rescue me and save me from the hand of foreigners, whose mouth speaks deceit and whose right hand is a right hand of falsehood. The exact same passage is condemning people for lying. And so, guys, imagine that passage right here. This is King David. This is King David saying, hey, I'm going to make a new song for you. I'm going to sing praises to you. Why? You keep saving me. I'm going to keep singing new songs. I'm making new songs. I'm not just going to sing the old song that I wrote 10 years ago. I'm going to sing a new song. And they say, you see, this is the prophecy that the Sharia is coming. And it's like
the proof.
This is how they argue, guys. This is insane.
This is Psalm 144. So stuff like this is just unforgivable to me. I don't know if you come with this as a great piece of evidence in a debate. Wow, man.
And God will return to and reveal himself in his full majesty and in his full to his full degree. And I want to bring it back to the original point we made, which is that Jesus was killed according to the Christians. He fulfilled the false prophet criteria to a T. Many people tried to kill the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and they couldn't. Isn't that funny?
Again, no, yeah, it's very funny because you are the ones who actually believe that is a criteria. We don't believe it. Nobody believes it. Nobody believed it.
God is impotent with respect to the true prophet, but he's very strong with respect. God is impotent with respect to the false prophet, but he's very strong with respect to the true prophet. That's what they would have.
I want to say that I hereby declare to be a prophet, and if I had survived,
but then in your name for like 50 years.
But I would have to wait until I'm very old to claim that that I'm a true prophet. But I guess even if I died of old age at the age of 85 or something, they would still say, "You see, God struck him down. This is the proof."
Yeah, I mean, it's important to keep in mind, guys, their entire reasoning is basically along the lines of someone who comes out and say, hey, I'm a prophet, and if I'm not, God will strike me down. He didn't strike me down. You see, this means I'm a true prophet. Their entire argument is that. It's that. I mean, most of us would look at that and go, that's stupid. That's stupid. All kinds of people claim to be prophets and don't get struck down. They're saying if God doesn't strike down a false prophet, then God is impotent. Guess what? Do the math. There are tons of people who claim to be false prophets in the world right now. There are tons of people down through history who claim to be true prophets, and they live to be very old. So according to him, God's just impotent and weak. And this is so, I don't know. There's something so wild about it. But guys, notice the point. He's saying Christians believe that Jesus died, and therefore this would expose him as a false prophet, according to them. Even though, no, we don't believe that. But Muhammad took 3 years to die after being poisoned, and therefore this is, what are you saying? That God's too weak to deal with a false prophet? But think about the actual reality. Muhammad dies like a dog and stays dead. Jesus dies and rises from the dead. You want to talk about how strong God is here?
Yes. The guy holding the debate got ticked off at his mod for all of our leather strap goat up talk. Alhamdulillah, we are the true ummah.
Oh, that's
Sancho Panza, I watched your debate live. You guys did incredibly. The opposing side was ridiculously deceptive, very disappointing. Thank you guys for all that you do. That's pretty rude, but thank you. Garbled words. Would David debate rationality rule? Saw he had a takedown video, but haven't watched it yet. I would say that David would probably not do that.
I would possibly actually have a formal debate with him. As far as the troll saying, go watch his video, guys. I said it after we watched the first one. I said, I'm never watching another video by this guy. That's just a rule. If you post a video and then all your dumb fans come to me and say, oh, he humiliated you. He destroyed your argument. And I watch it. What did we do? We watched it live, and then we watched what he was claiming to respond to. And almost everyone agreed that video was massively deceptive. Almost everyone agreed that video was massively deceptive. Okay. So I say then, all right, not interested in interacting with the guy. No, you might say, but David, you talk to Dawa, you keep interacting with Dawa guys and they're massively deceptive. Right. But there's a reason I keep going after Dawa guys. I think it's a much bigger issue than rationality rules, right?
So 0 interest in reacting to any video. Guys, just keep in mind, because this is boy who cried wolf situation going on. He makes a video, a bunch of dumb fans come over. Oh, he humiliated you. Now respond to him. We respond to him, and everyone's like, wow, that guy's dishonest. And then what happens? Then he posts another video, and the same fans come, oh, he humiliated you. Okay. My view is, if you're dumb enough to keep falling for that, why would I try to respond? Why? What could I say? If you're that dumb that you fall for that nonsense, why in the name of common sense would I be interested in responding to you when I have a lot of other people out there
Hey, have you heard
that I
of
could be interacting with?
Have you heard of this song?
They call me the disc collector, going door to door, collecting from the non-believers who better pay up or
Wow.
waste the floor. In the name of Allah, I demand what is due. For those who refuse, there's a price to pay. This is true.
It's good music. Anyway, go check out.
Sal's got skills, man. Sal's got skills.
Go check out Sal.
Hey, maybe
yeah.
that should. Maybe that. Wait, no. I was about to say, hey, people say I need intro music. Maybe I'll use Jizz Collector. I was like, wait, no, I can't do that. It sounds like it's my show. I'm
can't do
the
that.
Jizz Collector. You might not understand. Just making fun of mommy.
I'm going to hand it over to Omar for the last few minutes, who's going to cover the Dajjal prophecy in particular.
I don't care. I don't care. Anyway, there's no need to further go into this at the moment, at the present moment.
All right, so yeah, so our friends say that I've misrepresented Deuteronomy 18. And how did I misrepresent it? By going back a few chapters earlier to show what this is actually talking about. So actually appealing to the context of a verse is misrepresenting it. So guys, we have 2 criteria of a false prophet right there in Deuteronomy 18. If someone delivers a revelation, says, here's a revelation, and it turns out to not be a revelation.
Passive apologist said one guy called you gentleman and took it back right away. It was pathetic. Yeah, I know. I remember during the debate. I think it was later on during the crossfire.
Wait, what? I missed that.
Where I think
can you search for the term?
I think it was
Oh,
Tahir. He said gentlemen and then actually individuals.
I'll check the transcript.
I'm checking it right now. Oh, here, I got it. 229. Let's see.
Who do not make use of their reason. And the Quran is a very reasonable book. What these gentlemen, what these individuals.
You see? You see? Didn't I start my opening statement by praising these guys for being better than the Dawa guys?
Yes.
Not better than the Dawa guys. I was wrong.
Thanks for bringing this up.
I was right, because I praised them for actually having the courage to defend Muhammad in a debate, which most Dawa guys would never do in a million years. But very rude. Very rude.
Very, very rude. Well, at this point, we had already kind of descended into bashing each other. Not you. David was pretty nice the whole time, throughout the whole debate, but I was just getting very, very... I became a little bit of a mean person.
A bully.
A
thug.
Thug. I'm a thug. Yeah, let's see. I just want to watch my own part here.
That's all you care about. Quran's sources are all satanic verses. Our Muslim friends want to insist, no, these were all just fabricated. They're all fabricated. The Muslims just made them up. Okay, if that community was lying that frequently in such an embarrassing fashion, I would say we can't trust them about anything. Good point.
So our opponents on True Islam on the other side have a very interesting attitude of arrogantly asserting that we are twisting things, we don't know things, we haven't studied things, and so on. This is very, very funny to me, because here are some clear demonstrations that our opponents actually haven't studied things, as opposed to what we are doing. So in their opening statement, they mentioned as if it made a difference, Michael H. Hart and his... Oh, I forgot about that.
Hey, that was funny, because they were quoting someone, and then it was about Muhammad being the most, and I didn't catch it. I was like, wait, did they just quote Michael Hart? Is that who they quoted? That white nationalist dude?
They actually put it on the screen. Where was it?
Yeah, I caught it at the end of the quote, and I was like, and then they went on to another one. I was like, wait, what? Did they just quote Michael Hart? Because that is insanely stupid.
They put his picture up there and quoted him as evidence that Muhammad was a very nice, very popular guy.
Yeah, Michael Hart, the guy who believes that
Oh yeah.
powers of the age. So this is actually
Michael Hart. Wow.
people who said talked about this. So this is one example. Michael H. Hart said that he was the most successful person in human history, in his view, who was supremely successful on both the religious and the secular levels.
This is an example of these guys just going for just picking anything that serves their purpose,
Yeah.
their message, whether it is good or not, whether it is acceptable or absolutely ridiculous. In this case, it is absolutely ridiculous. This guy is not a respected person. He's not a scholar.
Nope.
He's not a historian. He's none of those
A
things.
scientist.
He is a scientist.
And his daddy had a publication company, and he asked his daddy to publish his list of the 100 most influential people, which no one in the world would have paid attention to it, except he put Muhammad at number 1, and then it became this huge Dawa thing. Look, the great historian, and you'll look at how Muslims use this. They'll say Michael Hart, one of the greatest historians of all time, the greatest historian in the world, Michael Hart. He's like, what? He's not a historian at all. He's a scientist. His dad published this for him at his publication company, but can't ignore the fact when you go through this guy's other writings. He's a white nationalist, believes that white people are superior to others and need to be separated from them to keep other races from polluting the pure white brain. He believes that Arabs fell for Muhammad because they are intellectually inferior. Keep in mind, when he's talking about successful, he's not talking about good. He's not talking about great. I mean, Hitler is on his list as people who were successful, who influenced the world. He's talking about successful in influencing the world. And his reasoning was he broke things down to this category. Like, what are the different areas where you could be influential in the world? It could be like a religious sense. It could be a scientific sense. It could be in some other field, could be in politics. And he says Muhammad is someone who was massively successful in both religion, as far as having a bunch of followers, and in politics, in the sense that his teachings have permeated a lot of governments. And he says since he's very, very, very impactful in 2 areas, I'm ranking him number 1. And so you've got a white nationalist who believes that a bunch of people fall for Muhammad's teaching because they're intellectually inferior. But he has to acknowledge, but guess what? It really, really worked. He was successful in getting these people to believe in him and obey him. And Muslims use this. You see, this is the proof. How could Islam be false? The entire point is that dummies fall for this.
Yeah. It's the proof. The proof.
Person in human history, in his view, who is supremely successful on both the religious and the secular level.
So what a stupid point to make. They actually brought this up, man. What a stupid, dumb thing to do. Asserting that we are twisting things we don't know of on true listing of the 100 most influential figures. Here is specifically known as a psalm by David. This is David speaking. It's not okay. I don't know if there's anything here. What else is there that we should have a look at? The wood.
Worship a human being, and we, the Muslims, who established the unity of God, the immaterial nature of God, that God is no longer not a physical being. It is we who are being preached to about idolatry.
That God is no longer not a physical being.
What the heck is he talking about here? With idolatry and stuff? That's not in.
Hey, so there was one part where he was asked about the New Testament, and he made a statement where he said the New Testament is completely false. And then I asked him to clarify that. Let's see. Let's see here. Okay, this section. I want to check that because I didn't check this after the debate, but we had a little bit of an issue.
Muhammad, but
Yeah. I don't recall him saying that, but I wasn't always listening to what they were saying, as you can see. So I don't know if he said that or not.
You see, David wasn't listening.
If it quoted about Jesus, it's a false interpretation. It's very simple. I mean, we don't take the Bible. The Bible is not the revealed word of God. The Bible is a compilation of a whole load of documents written by human beings. Some of the passages of the Bible have the words of Jesus, but most of the Bible, especially the New Testament, I should actually specify, is frankly completely false. It's the words of Paul, who openly renounced his own doctrines, Romans, Corinthians, Galatians.
Is that what you're referring to?
Talks about how
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
How
so
do you
in-
understand this, David?
Yeah, in his defense, he's saying the Bible does contain things like the words of Jesus, but he says, but most of it is what he said, completely false. He said
Yeah, but-
most of it is completely false. So there are parts. So he's not saying the entire Bible is completely false. He's saying there are parts that are.
But he
true.
says the New Testament. That was the point that I asked him to clarify. The New Testament. Is he saying here that most of the New Testament is also, so in this context, in the context of the New Testament, that the New Testament is in most parts completely false, or is he at
Yeah.
this point then saying that the New Testament especially is completely false?
He was saying most because he believes that the New Testament does contain words of Jesus. So
Okay,
he wouldn't
okay,
say that's completely false. But he's saying most of it is completely false.
Okay, I missed the.
Jesus.
Okay.
But
See,
most of the
AP
Bible,
humiliated.
passages of the Bible have the words of Jesus, but most of the Bible, especially the New Testament, I should actually specify, is frankly completely false.
Okay.
It's the words of Paul, who openly renounced his own doctrines, Romans, Corinthians, Galatians.
What a dope.
He talks about how
Okay. Yeah, I understand now. Listening to this, it looks like he's saying that most of the New Testament is completely false. He's not saying that the New Testament is completely false. I get that. I was a little bit confused by the wording, I guess, but then I asked him to clarify the whole completely false.
he goes on the apostle to James tells him, "Of you are the aberrant Christian doctrine."
For a brief clarification for something very short.
Yeah, go ahead, AP.
Darius just said that the New Testament is completely wrong. Was that did
No, I
you
didn't
misspeak
say that.
there, or do you stand by that?
People can hear what I said. I didn't say the New Testament is completely wrong. I said the New Testament is a mishmash of both sayings of Jesus, true sayings of Jesus, especially given in his parables, and then a whole load of false statements. And you have to understand a simple point, and I'll summarize it for you. So you
Okay, yeah. So that's correct. I misunderstood that.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that you said that your wording was
Some of the audience might
completely,
not.
the New Testament will not say something. Follow the law, and that's why he said.
okay, I was wrong. That's good.
AP has been humiliated, admits that he lost debate against powerful Ahmadis.
I wouldn't be surprised if they actually posted that at this point. Now, what about our closings?
Yeah, you can play our closings.
Is this the closing part? I think it is. I think I start with the closing and then you take over.
I don't recall.
I just want to once again reiterate the well-known Jewish prayer, which is known as the Shema, which goes, Shema Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. So here I specified that. Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Meaning, hear Israel, Yahweh, our God, Yahweh is one. This is in contrast to the Islamic statement of faith, which goes, La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. There is no God but Allah, or no God but God, and Muhammad is his messenger. Different people on both counts. One extra person, the demigod Muhammad, and then another person, the God whose name.
You're talking about them being rude, AP?
Honestly, at this point, I had kind of deliberately become a little bit of a dick here. So
Yeah, it was entirely appropriate. They were if they had been nice the entire time, it would say, "Hey, come on, let up on these guys." But no,
Yeah.
they were extremely arrogant and mocking the entire time.
yeah, I wasn't planning on being like this, but I totally let go of all of that once they started getting insulting.
Again, it is good. It is good that we can get people's true colors to show, right?
Yeah. Muhammad never knew, which is why he created his new God, Allah. Quite clear that we have different gods at play here. We talked a lot about Yahweh. Our friends have not been able to deal with this question at all. I would always recommend them to sit down and do their studies on the name of God in the Bible and in Islam. I even made videos on this. One is called "How Allah Got His Name Wrong," They can sit down and watch those videos if they want to, or they can just sit down and talk and read about Yahweh and why it's not appearing in the Quran. They will be very. At this point, I'm just telling them to watch my video and educate themselves. Enlightened and very shocked. We talked about Deuteronomy 18, which also, by the way, says that Yahweh will raise a prophet among your brethren, among yourselves. It doesn't say Allah. It doesn't say anything else. Just wonder where that prophet is and how it refers to Muhammad in that context when Yahweh is giving instructions to the Israelites on how to act and what God to worship and what prophet to respect and what prophet not to respect. It's good to see that our opponents have conceded lots of things here, which is quite obvious. I must say that their arguments were significantly poorer than I expected. It's no wonder that not even the Muslims themselves consider them true Muslims.
Oh, you did say, I forgot you said it there in your conclusion. That's messed up, man.
To be fair, it's in the conclusion. It's at the end of the conclusion. So, yeah.
But here's the thing: it was a pointless jab. It was a pointless. Yeah. No wonder people say you're not real Muslim.
Yeah, it was not necessary, but I specifically made it because I thought I don't care anymore about these people.
Yeah, we will say not necessary, but entirely justified. Not necessary, but entirally justified, given their behavior in the debate.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have said this. It felt very satisfying, and watching this, it still feels very satisfying, and
we're proud of that.
Yeah.
All right. So,
and then you go in like a nice person again.
Yeah, I'm super nice.
It's no wonder that not even the Muslims themselves consider them true Muslims. David.
All right. So there was a lot said, but there's only a few main arguments. We pointed out, both sides pointed out Deuteronomy 18, which says that God's going to raise up a prophet. Why? These Jews were worried. Hey, what if we lose Moses and so on? And God tells them, hey, don't worry. And again, some people believe this is referring to.
Who is the psychopath here?
What?
Who is the psychopath here? For
AP. A line of prophets. Some people believe that it's referring to one. Whatever it is, it's a fact that Muhammad is ruled out as a true prophet because he did the things that it specifically says you can't be a true prophet if you're doing these things. And when it says, and that prophet shall die, clearly referring back to Deuteronomy 13, which is saying that you would execute a person who's going around speaking in the names of other gods, which is exactly what it criticizes here. Our friends can only get around this by completely just massacring the text, massive amounts of eisegesis, as AP pointed out, completely ignoring basic issues of context. And
did you say ISIS Jesus?
Just massacring the text, massive amounts of eisegesis, as AP pointed out.
It does sound like you said ISIS Jesus.
That would be funny new term. That would be a funny new term. Given Islamic readings to all these things, we call it ISIS Jesus.
That's funny. You see, David subconsciously thinks about people.
There's exegesis, there's eisegesis, and ISIS Jesus.
The text, massacring the text, massive amounts of eisegesis, as AP pointed out, completely ignoring basic issues of context, and then denying the historical accuracy of the satanic verses. Again, I have 50 sources on the satanic verses to say that Muslims were inventing this, that Muslims just woke up one day and said, you know what we really need? We need to invent dozens of stories about Muhammad delivering revelations from Satan. So the idea that they're just inventing this is a good thing to do, well, great, then we can't trust these guys at all. Or the idea like it was invented by someone else, like Jews or something like that. They spread the story, what? And then Muslims start telling this story. The only explanation for why this is in the Muslim sources when it's so utterly embarrassing to the Muslim community is that it actually happened. This is a criterion of history. When people are inventing something about someone they want to believe in, they invent positive things like miracle stories or something like that. You don't invent stories about your guy delivering revelations from Satan and not being able to tell the difference between a revelation from God and a revelation.
Maybe the early Muslims thought it was a good thing to be manipulated by the devil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, it's based. It's based if you invent revelations from Satan.
Being fooled by Satan is
Super
based.
based. But I mean, think about this. I have 50 sources on the satanic verses. They say that's made up. We have 200 plus sources on the age of Aisha, and they say that's all made up. So, guys, the point I was making there is, okay, either we have a ton of sources here and we have to go where the evidence points, or you could say they're all made up. If they're all made up, then you're dealing with the biggest bunch of liars the world has ever seen. If they're constantly cranking out fabrications, because here's the issue: who's preserving the Quran at this time? First century of Islam, second century of Islam. The same guys that these guys are saying are a bunch of liars making up false stories.
Hey, that's
okay.
Nice.
Good. I'm cool. I'm cool with that. If you want to say that the guys who are preserving the Quran and who are preserving the history of Muhammad are the biggest bunch of liars and deceivers the world has ever seen, they just constantly make stuff up for no purpose at all. Oh, Muhammad banged a little girl, even though he didn't. Oh, he delivered revelations from the devil, even though he didn't. If you're saying that's what these guys were, great. Why would we trust anything these guys say?
Hey, we're competing very nicely with the presidential debate right now. See,
no one cares. No one cares about that.
We have 1,000 people. They have 1 million people watching. We're almost we're almost there. See?
Yeah.
You see, nobody cares about this.
No one cares
People
about that
watching.
stuff.
People want to watch our channel.
From Satan. So definitely Muhammad is a false prophet, according to Deuteronomy 18, Matthew 7, where Jesus says, beware of false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they're ravening wolves. Perfect description of Muhammad. Hey, Jews, Christians, we're on the same side. And then he has to subjugate all of them. Again, we have the fruits of Muhammad, child marriage, wife beating, and so on. These aren't issues where people are abandoning Muhammad and they're committing sins. These are issues where people are actually following the example of Muhammad. And we have to say we do not like these fruits. Our friends appeal to John 14, where Jesus, he's about to go away, and he tells his followers, guys, I'm going away, but don't worry, I'm going to send the Holy Spirit to you. And they say, oh, this is talking about Muhammad centuries later. Wild stuff. And of course, we have them appealing to the sign of Jonah when what did Jesus say? If you say I'm not going up to Jerusalem.
This is so funny. I'm just looking at myself as you're speaking here, and every little jab that you take, I find very hilarious.
To die, you're following Satan. So that would mean that according to Jesus, Muhammad was following Satan. How many different ways can Muhammad be a false prophet according to the same book?
All right. Thank you guys for that 5-minute closing. All right, Dr. Tahir and Dr. Umar, you guys are up for your 5-minute closing, and I will start the time as soon as you begin to speak.
So I'd like to go back to the...
I'd like to go back to talk about something that we already talked about 5,000 times. What about if Muhammad didn't die?
Let
Jesus
me
died.
iterate our point, isn't it, that Muhammad, he didn't get killed instantly, and therefore he's a true prophet. So, in your face, you got served.
Yeah, we already established, that a true prophet never dies, but since a true prophet never dies, and our prophet never died, so he was a true prophet, innit? But your prophet, your biblical prophet, Jesus, who was only a prophet, he died, mate, so he was not a true prophet, innit?
Yeah, we got that. We established that. Thank you so much. All right. We will review more of this tomorrow, innit? So, Joshua Wooden said, I've never heard the mention of donkeys being prophetic about vehicles. I thought he was going to say more predicted the Democrat symbol donkey. You see, this is funny. I brought up when he said that I mentioned Alex Jones and frogs turning gay during the debate.
Yeah. As far as, most people haven't heard this argument. I heard this argument from Nabil and from his dad.
You did?
Yes, I heard this argument from Nabil and his dad about all these donkeys, and this is actually prophecies of these are prophecies about modern transportation and so on. And I remember saying to Nabil, show me the actual passages in the hadiths. Show me I have Sahih al-Bukhari here. By this time I had Sahih al-Bukhari. By this time I had Sahih Muslim. And I said, show me those passages. I want to read them for myself. And he never did. He never did show them to me. And
No. So what I'm thinking, because Nabil's not a dishonest guy. So what I'm thinking is he gave the arguments by reading some apologetics book in Ahmadi Islam, probably one from one of their leaders that they have to submit to, probably gave all these arguments and so on. And then I'm guessing when I requested them, Nabil tried to find them and couldn't, or he looked them up and was like, oh no, this is not what these things are saying at all.
Somebody should confront Nabil about that.
Someone did confront him about that.
Oh. Viativistu said if Ahmadis are Muslims, then Mormons are Christians. That's what I think as well. David disagrees because
I disagree.
Because David,
I disagree because Mormons reject the basic fundamental core doctrines of Christianity. Ahmadis accept the core doctrines of Islam. They just have extra weird stuff. If I wanted to compare them to a group, if I wanted to compare Ahmadis to a group, I would compare them to Seventh-day Adventists. I wouldn't say Seventh-day Adventists are not Christians. I would say because they have a later figure who is interpreting the scriptures for them and claiming to get revelations, that they are now they're kind of they follow the teachings of Ellen G. White in addition to this other thing, but they believe in the Trinity. They believe Jesus died for sins. They believe in the resurrection. They believe these things. So I can't rule them out. It's just they've got it. In fact, I think it was the book Kingdom of the Cults. That's like the standard thing in Kingdom of the Cults, like defining cults and so on. It puts Seventh-day Adventists in a different category. They're not a cult. It puts them in a category of aberrational group, which is, as I've been saying, it's you've got enough of the core doctrine to be classified as Christian, but you have some additional stuff that makes you different from other Christian groups. So when we're talking about Ahmadis, I think of them like that. It's like, okay, they believe in the 5 pillars. They believe in the 6 articles of faith. They believe in all these things. They just have this later guy who is guiding their interpretations of stuff, and they have an additional allegiance to this other guy. And don't
the Seventh-day Adventists have a female prophet? Isn't she a woman?
Who?
The Seventh-day Adventists?
Yeah, Ellen G. White.
See, that's why they are inferior to Muslim to the
that's why they're weaklings. That's why they're weaklings.
Muhammad said that that a nation that is led by a woman will be doomed. So how dare they have a woman? But yeah, Mormons, Christians, Ahmadis, Muslims, same. David is wrong on this one. Sheikh Mike Wingling said AP was pretty rude to the Ahmadi Kuffar. Which is based and shows he's still a mighty jihadi on the inside fighting the enemies of Islam. This is true.
Yeah, it would be funny if you started getting some Muslim fans who don't like Ahmadis. They're like, oh, AP's way cooler than we thought. He's humiliating the Ahmadis and exposing them.
Yeah, Muslims should publish the clip of me calling them not real Muslims, and maybe Muhammad Hijab can publish that on his channel. David Kazuma, the Dragon of All Pleasures, has this beautiful picture here and says, I've noticed Muslims in unmoderated settings will bring up irrelevant points, and when I don't address them, they ignore everything else and claim I can't refute them because of those points didn't address. Yeah, that's a fallacy. That's what they do. That's what they do.
Urinating upon one another. That's what they do.
Eliezer Copter said, from the river to the sea, these nuts will be free. Change comes from within. This is
Ahmadis nuts.
Yeah. Ayatollah Khamenei Pope AP meeting with Islamic delegation after popping 3 melatonins. You guys hear about Ahmadis nuts. Oh man, garbled words. Mehdi Hassan falls in the deceptive camp. He does indeed. I know some people are talking about my eye and whether I'm sick. Yes, I have a thing with my eye going on here. I don't know. It turned red and it's kind of hurting.
See,
I know it's very
curse. AP is turning into the Dajjal.
Yes, the curse of Allah. You see. Why was AP invited? He's not even a doctor. Who does he think he is? Ruthlessly and savagely humiliating doctors in this manner. Be kind to people with puny brains. This is a good argument. Why was I invited to this debate when I'm clearly not a doctor? I could have started with
I'm a medical doctor,
but I didn't. Joshua Wooden said, I lost track of my fallacy meter by them here is just 3 equivocating words, Mott and Bailey, and poisoning the lamb. I mean, poisoning the well. Yes. That's good. That's a good one. Gorno's Bulldozer says, should the Dawa guys eat Aunt Myrna's party cheese salad? It's a salad made of shredded cheese, bell pepper, cream cheese, jello, crushed pineapple, and some other stuff I might have forgotten about. Yes, they should. This is so nice. Gorno's Bulldozer always makes the most irrelevant super chats here, and I just read them. So Mrs. B made a super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Joshua Wooden said, I don't know. The Q portion was only 30 minutes long, or I would have corrected your opponent calling you an atheist versus agnostic. I sent like 5 super chats to TGT. Yeah, I didn't really care. At some point, they also called me a Christian because they said they referred to us as the Christians during the debate.
You see, Ahmadis prove AP is a closet Christian.
You see, Allah's got 99 names, but Yahweh ain't one.
Yeah, keep that in mind, because I saw there's a later super chat where someone asked what the point of the names is. So yeah, keep that in mind. Keep this point in mind. Allah has all these names. He's this, he's that, he's this, he's that, he's this, he's that. The one name that he is not aware of is what he supposedly said in the Bible. Hey, here's my name. Don't forget it.
Yes. Forever. It says forever. And in fact, Allah himself, according to the Quran, gives Jesus the name that literally means Yahweh is salvation, or Yahweh saves, however you'd want to take it. Why is Allah doing that? Why is he doing that? Why is it so important? Why is that name so important? He also gives the very same name. He also gives a similar name to John, according to the Quran, whom he calls Yahya in Arabic, which in Hebrew originally stands for Yah lives. Yahweh lives. So apparently Allah deliberately decides that one of the most important people ever, Jesus, is supposed to carry the name of Yahweh. Why? This is important. It's all of this just points toward the idea that Muhammad hijacked this religion and never really understood it. He had no idea what he was adopting. I love how so much of what they said could be turned around on them. For example, saying David Wood was twisting Deuteronomy for his own purposes. Yeah, said Jonathan. That's true. That's what they did.
And how was I twisting it? By saying, hey, why don't you read the context?
Yeah.
I don't like context.
It's funny because we were just we were reading it exactly as it is, and they were reading into it brutally and couldn't explain how.
Yeah, I mean, guys, think about what's actually happening. Hey, what does this mean? Oh, let's actually read it to see what this is about. Whereas in their mind, it's no, here's what my leader, what the leader of my group says it's about. Therefore, all the context is irrelevant. None of that matters. What matters is here's what I've been told this means. And if I reject that, then I'm rejecting my entire sect. And I can't do that.
This is so funny. The chat summary is always hilarious. Earlier, people were pointing out that it was saying that people are talking about AP, who is a controversial YouTuber. That's what my chat AI summary is saying. Now I'm looking at it. It says, people are discussing a variety of topics, including Zakir Naik's current viewership and the definition of Yahweh. There is some debate about whether AP is a Christian or not. It's pretty good. Some pretty good summary here. Ayatollah Khamenei said papal decree from AP be like, nice debate, frauds, you don't even exist. That sounds like me. Goodness Bulldozer, the salad was cursed upon us by the Cooking with Jack show, who is also known for eating raw chicken and making chili with a month-old brisket. Ah, that's good. That's interesting. Mohammed Epstein, peace be upon him, says, I think a lot of apologists would be a lot calmer, more articulate if they could unwind with a brewski at the end of the day. They should. That's why we should introduce Dawa brew. Goat Hub Music said that's not the only hub AP likes. There, David. There you go. Beatrice Nunes said, how many false prophets in Israel didn't drop dead and actually went after Jeremiah? Yeah, well, Ahmadis have a different history. Yes. Yes. Outcast made a super chat. Joshua Wooden said, as bad as they were, no one mocks the Messiah, Jesus. Peace and blessings be upon him, standing with Muhammad under his feet like Siraj did at Speaker's Corner. Oh my God. I want to forget that. I want to forget what I heard that day.
Hey, that's another perfect example of us exposing their true colors. Like,
Jesus
hey,
was the
hey, we
first
believe in Jesus more than you guys do. We believe in Jesus. We respect Jesus more than you guys do. 2 seconds later, Jesus was transgender. He had breasts. He had breasts.
That's not what he said. What he said is,
Jesus was a first transgender. Your mom has smaller small boob than Jesus. Jesus was first transgender in history.
It was powerful stuff. Powerful stuff.
very, very good arguments. That really made me rethink everything, and kind of makes me want to convert to Islam.
Shining through.
Oscar Filio says, Dr. David Wood, please wish my mom Diva a happy birthday. She is a huge fan.
Hey, Diva, happy birthday. It's good you have awesome son like Oscar here. And it's even better that you're a huge fan of me. Notice not one word about AP there.
Yeah, nobody cares about AP. Why would anybody care about AP? Why would anybody care about AP? Apostle Joe Smith made a super chat of $6.66 and said, peace be upon me. God never struck me down immediately as I prophesied, thus proving Muhammad was not the last prophet after all. Checkmate Deuteronomy. Yep. That's powerful stuff. But they would say that he eventually died, so therefore he was false. Yeah. Michael said, have you seen the documentary Under a False Identity? In Hebrew, Israeli journalist dressed as Sheikh goes to Europe and USA and unveils how Muslims take over wherever they're at. That's interesting. Let me see. Under a False Identity. That sounds pretty Islamophobic. So I'll probably
why does it have a Hebrew title? Is it got English subtitles or is it English with Hebrew subtitles?
I think it is actually in Hebrew.
Oh, then you'll understand none of it.
Of course I understand. I understood it right here. It means under a false identity. See? I figured it out, you see.
Oh, you translated that perfectly.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
Urinating upon one another.
That's what they do.
Okay, I made a note of that. I'll check it out. All right. Mateo09 is said, if it wasn't Deuteronomy 18 that proved Mo was a true prophet, it was definitely you two united against Muslims. Persecution is what makes us a cult true. Isn't that funny? I'm trying to remember their wording, but didn't they say that it's actually a proof?
Yeah, it said that. Yeah, they gang up on the strong one, or whatever they said.
That an atheist and the Christian come together to argue against them is actually proof to the truthfulness of Muhammad. Man, that's so poor. It's so stupid.
And then again, these are the same guys who run around, hey, Muslims and Christians should be united against the Jews. Well, what would that mean? The Jews are this big, strong thing, and they're so big and strong that the world's two largest religions, making up over half the world's population, need to unite against this few million Jews on the planet.
You see? UCLA. Outcast Boom Boom Boom. Mo meets Russell Brand. Muhammad will convert to Christianity.
Hi, Muhammad. You see, I was questioning myself for a while, but I found Jesus again when I was doing some proper yoga and thinking about the Buddha. So how about you try that too?
That'll probably work.
It would be pretty based.
Gordo's Bulldozer. The worst part about the month-old brisket chili was it was made for church chili cook-off. Dude probably got excommunicated for that. Wow. That's really serious stuff here. Ellie Ezra Copter just for AP Hong Kong. Urinating Broom said, TBH, almost nobody cares about Ahmadiyya.
Ahmadiyya. We knew AP loved the best of Falco. We need to get Sal on some songs. We come up with too many awesome song ideas. We never do anything with them.
I just thought of that because I read it like this, because of the way it was spelled here. Ahmadiyya. I don't know why. Ahmadiyya.
Yeah, by the way, I have a theory about, because someone just pointed out no one cares about Ahmadis. No, they do. You got several Dawa guys who go after them pretty regularly and so on. And as far as I know, they're very active. Matter of fact, we saw them just walking around places in London. We saw Ahmadis set up doing their Ahmadi version of Dawa. And you can check out the Ahmadis who go to Speaker's Corner and they're challenging the Dawa guys to debates and so on who the true Muslims are. So they are very active. As far as them getting attitudes, I really think that all the Muslim groups, especially the smaller groups, are going through this right now, where they look out and they're seeing who are the popular Dawa guys and what's their approach, and they're thinking, oh, it's Ali Dawa and Daniel Hakikachu and Muhammad Hijab. These are the guys who are increasing in popularity, and they're thinking, okay, we have to act like these guys. And so I think all the Muslim group, like you see this from the what's that guy's name?
Mahmoud
Javad. Who's the? It's not Khalil. It's the other guy. Javad. Is it Javad something? Javad Hashmi or something? Does that sound familiar?
Yes, that's him.
Yeah, that guy. He messaged me for a debate. I instantly agreed, and then he tried to change the topic that he was challenging me on, and I said no. And then he starts sending me all his messages and getting all his dumb followers come over and say, "Hey, David's running from him." David's like, I agreed to a debate. As soon as I agreed, he instantly changed it and not dealing with this guy until he debates the topic he agreed to. But then he starts sending his followers after me. Oh, they're so scared. You're so scared. And he's thumping his chest. He's sending these messages. Your fear of me is delicious. Like, I had no clue who this guy was, right? Your fear of me is delicious, right? So anyway, the point is, I've noticed that all these groups that try to portray themselves as the more intellectual ones and as the more reasonable ones, they're all acting like the Dawa guys. They're all acting like the worst of the Dawa clowns now. And I think they just realized, wait a minute, this is what works. This is what works. You go out and make a complete clown out of yourself and thump your chest and say, everyone's running from me. Everyone's scared. We're humiliating everyone. And I think they're all realizing that, and they're deciding to dial up the mockery and the insults and the chest thumping and so on.
Here's apparently that Trump is going after your hero, Biden. Trump calls Biden a bad Palestinian for not wanting Israel to finish Hamas. Someone may want to check it on the new woke right. I hope Candace Owens and Nicolas Fuentes are okay. Let me see.
Nicolas Fuentes.
Once ago, he said the only one who wants to keep going is Hamas. Actually, Israel is the one, and you should let him go and let him finish the job. He doesn't want to do it. He's become like a Palestinian, but they don't like him because he's a very bad Palestinian. He's a weak one.
We might have to watch this. Dude, we might actually have to watch this debate. We've only been talking about Israel and Palestine for a long time now. And so if they're actually talking about this, we might have to go through some of the relevant sections here.
Yeah, but I agree with Avi here. Those pro-Palestine, anti-Israel people who are also thinking that Trump is the based guy, they're probably having a heart attack right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are these idiots thinking? Trump has been one of the most pro-Israel presidents in a long, long time. If he is elected as president again, it will be a very pro-Israel administration compared to the one that we have.
Dude, I saw some clip. I can't remember exactly what it was. Does anyone remember this? I recall it, but it was after some. It was at some rally or something like this, and he's walking through, and someone comes up to him, and is like, "Hey, we got to get a ceasefire. We got to get a ceasefire." And he goes, "Oh yeah, if I'm elected, we'll get the ceasefire." And then people were circulating that, going, "You see, he's on our side. He's on our side." And based on this,
you guys might want to check what he means by ceasefire. Like, of course we're going to get a ceasefire because Israel's just going to completely wipe out Hamas, and then there's going to be a ceasefire. So yeah, we're going to get it.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a ceasefire before the election. I think it'll be over before the election ever happens.
Carfear says no IP. He wants the war to stop. Yeah, but Trump, I think, made it very clear, as David just mentioned, that so he says, of course, these are big words. Trump talks a lot, but what he said is that he wants to give Israel the help that they need to finish this war and to wipe out Hamas, and that's how it should be finished. There shouldn't be a ceasefire. And Hamas should just continue. Israel should have the way to finish Hamas as quickly as possible, because that's the only way. That's what Trump said. But he talks a lot, so yeah, that's that. Anyway, Shake Mike Wingling, David Wood might defeat the winger on silly YouTube polls, but he dares not face him in the octagon, the math Olympics for a spelling bee. He knows he's weak. Yeah.
That's true.
That's true. This is a good point. Beatrice Nunes said, interesting inversion. They shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. Muhammad dead by poisoned lamb. Alhamdulillah. This is a beautifully put super chat, which is from Argentina. Isn't this worth like $1 or something? I'm sorry for mocking Argentina right now, but I think
pretty rude.
But what is inflation in Argentina right now? I don't mean to be rude at all. It's just a little side note there.
It's 22 cents. That's how much inflation has.
That's funny because this is highlighted in orange,
which is around $20.
Yeah, but it's actually just a few cents. That's funny. That's
weird. But I mean, think about that. I mean, if they color coded this based on the way it was, a couple of years ago, that would be crazy amount of inflation.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. But yeah, hope things go well for Argentina. Don't cry
for me,
Argentina. It's one of my favorite songs ever. Ice Cream's word said, besides
not as good as Ahmadiyya.
Ahmadiyya.
No, I don't want to listen to that stupid song.
There should really be a parody, like the Weird Al parodies. There should be a parody of the Ahmadiyya song with Ahmadiyya. Yeah, the P fallacy, doesn't their interpretation of Deuteronomy render their own sect false? Interesting tactic to argue in a debate that your own beliefs are false. David, what do you think about this?
Wait, what? Besides the if P then Q, therefore P fallacy, doesn't their interpretation of Deuteronomy render their own sect false? Interesting tactic to argue in a debate that your own beliefs are false. What do you mean? What do you mean that would make their own sect false?
I don't understand which interpretation of Deuteronomy, and why would that make it false? I don't get it.
Yeah, they were making the fallacy. If P, then Q, therefore P.
But
so that is the fallacy of affirming the consequent, which is what they're doing. So if someone is a false prophet, then he will die. He died, therefore he's a false prophet. That's and they were doing that. They were doing that in multiple ways. It's pretty much ingrained in their thinking. So yeah, their entire reasoning is fallacious at its core, which should tell you everything you need to know about Ahmadi Islam.
They also did make that thing. You responded to that. I wasn't really paying attention at that point, where they were citing that. I don't recount, but an earlier example in the Bible of death implies that when it talks in Deuteronomy 18 about shall die, it means that God has to strike them down. I don't know. We can get through that some other time.
Yeah, no, that's That's just silly stuff. But yeah, it's basic. I mean, basically, they're using illicit conversion quite a bit. If you're a false prophet, then you die, and they flip it. If you die, then you're a false prophet. If you survive, if you don't die, then you're a true prophet. If you're a true prophet, then you won't die. They're constantly flipping things.
This is funny. Apparently, people can just live watch the debate and comment on it live. I didn't know you could do that.
Why were we not doing that the entire time then?
I know. I thought it was assumed that it's not allowed. Let me run through this very quickly, and then let me sit down and do the whole debate thing later. Paolo Lungaramo should have talked to that poison out. I saw that meme, and I don't find it that funny. Don't look it up, David.
I'm not going to.
Yeah. Lloyd 444 said, if Muhammad is the Holy Spirit, that would mean he descended from heaven onto Yeshua like a dove. They said some weird stuff about the Holy Spirit as well, didn't they? They kind of started mocking.
They're arguing that Muhammad. They're arguing that Muhammad is the Holy Spirit. So that's one level of blasphemy. They also quoted Deuteronomy 33 as about Muhammad when it says Yahweh. It says it's about Yahweh, and they said, "Oh, it's a manifestation of God," and that's talking about Muhammad. So it says Yahweh did something, and they said this actually refers to Muhammad because he's a manifestation of Yahweh. And it's like, guys, you guys are living in Shirk Central, man. Shirk Central.
Pants. I admit I'm intellectually molested. I increased my iman. 487 got your attention yet? Reach out to Oren from traveling in Israel yet? You'd make a great team next Israel visit. I will reach out, inshallah, for the next visit. I swear.
487.
Yeah. Volkogluk said, finally caught a live stream. Don't ever shut up and here take my shekels. I'll call it here. Also, maybe try to do a stream with Maya Artusi. You need a bigger platform. Honestly, Maya actually said he would like to do something. I just didn't yet arrange it. So, to be very honest, that's on me. Stefan Milojevich, imagine I see you on the street, but we meet on the pro-Palestinian protest. It wouldn't be safe because a lot of people would want us dead simply because of a reason we are atheists, pro-Palest. Yeah, it's true. Tim Miara in Jonah 2, he was praying from the realm of the dead, aka Sheol, the pit, the deep. Whoever says he survived is misreading the text and the sign of Jonah.
Yeah, we're debating whether Jesus died by crucifixion next month. I want to say we'll assume that they're not going to bring up this stupid argument because
actually
people
it
are
wasn't
on
next month. It was 2,000 years ago.
The sign of Jonah, very popular. Ahmed Deedat and Zakir Naik made the sign of Jonah popular because it's what we always talk about. They look for arguments that are kind of new and people aren't familiar with them, so they're not clear on how to respond, and so they use this. And then it was actually some Messianic Jews who pointed out. They go, "Hey, what's that Dawa guy talking about? Saying that Jonah never died? What's he talking about?" He goes, Jews believe that he died. And so anyway, it was interesting. So anyway, guys, the argument is that when Jesus says you're going to get the sign that this generation is going to get is the sign of Jonah, the Muslims argue, oh, what's the sign of Jonah? It's that he survived the entire time. And therefore, Jesus is saying that he's going to survive the entire time. And in the debate, I simply read a little farther in the same passage where Peter says, this will never happen to you. As far as him dying, Jesus says, hey, I'm going up to Jerusalem. I'm going to die and rise from the dead. Peter says, this will never happen to you. Why? You're the Messiah. You're not going to die. And Jesus says, get behind me, Satan. You have no idea what you're talking about right now. And so anyway, the point is in the same passage with the sign of Jonah, Jesus says, if you say he's not going to die, you're following Satan. Whatever your intentions are, you're following Satan. So that's what I use that. But we'll see if they use that dumb argument.
Mike Winger is the must do. Um, Eager Eagle said AP and David would, out of fear, love, and respect, when learning, for example, divide Elohim or replace a letter Elohim or spell it out. You did great. I thank you so much. I also pointed out in the debate that me spelling out the names and pronouncing them directly maybe
Yeah, you did.
offensive
Said, hey,
to
that may be
Jews.
offensive to some people, but
Yeah, but I'm making a point there, which is why I need to
Yeah.
do it that way.
the point he's making is, as an agnostic, he can be as disrespectful to anyone as he wants, which is why he was super disrespectful to not only the Ahmadis, but also,
Ahmadi.
let's face it, to the Jews.
I love Jews. I love the Jews. I love the Jews. Gorno's Bulldozer said, just so you know, Damar are a war metal band, a combination of black metal, death metal, and grindcore, and the main name means destruction. Oh, okay. They only released a demo called Through Spears of... okay, thank you. Alhamdulillah Shawarma's Al Falafel Ibn Tahini Jr. said, you guys demolished that debate. I watched it live and I'm proud AF.
We're proud of that.
AP and Daily Wire, I want to invite you for a beer. I am around New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia.
If you are around New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, you are a big, big dude.
Pennsylvania, not Philadelphia. Get it right, David. Eager said, watching debate, I wish you both would end every remark with a few of, are you ready to leave Islam? And how about now, thereafter?
Maybe we'll do that sometime.
Yes.
So, are you ready to leave Islam?
So what do you say?
And then you give an argument. You go, how about now?
Yeah. Well, repeat after me. If you're ready to leave Islam. Moshe Cohen says, I love how at one point you pulled a good bad cop. Yeah.
Hey, that was actually again, there was not a lot of planning or preparation beforehand, but I mentioned earlier that I said Ahmadis are actually, even though in other ways they may be much better, they're super arrogant. There's, again, not all Ahmadis, so don't say, oh, you said all Ahmadis. No, I'm not saying that. Ahmadis tend to be significantly more arrogant than even the Dawa guys. So I said before the debate, I said, hey, what are we going to do? They are the Ahmadis are significantly more arrogant than other people. Should we lean into that and praise them, or should we criticize and mock them? Because what did you say?
I then said, how about you praise them? You're nice to them, and I'll just say what I actually think. Let's do good cop, bad cop. So, so this is very funny.
Yeah. So guys, the idea, if you're dealing with an arrogant person or a narcissist or something like that, you can feed the narcissism and say, oh yeah, see, you're so much better than these other people. Let's all agree that you're way better than these other guys. So I started off like that. Oh, you guys are way better than the Dawa guys. They're a bunch of cowards. They would never defend any of this. You guys are way better. And then AP, you're not real Muslims. No wonder Muslims reject you as true Muslims with these stupid arguments you bring, you little weaklings.
And this wasn't even a serious plan. But I know from experience that David would be nice. That David would be nice. He would be polite. He would treat them in such a way, and I would easily let go of that niceness. So. I think, I don't know why, but after these years, I kind of don't really have the patience, don't want to put the effort into being nice and respectful to anyone on that other side. And with the Ahmadis, I don't have that much experience, but I went into it not aiming to be totally bad, but they asked for it, and they're going to get it. Yeah. Jack and Move said, David, unban me. Also, AP, do a video of Mohammed the Gay. Oh, thank you. Issa Kabir said, hey, y'all, what do you feel about Tahir on MD Day? I saw him only once debate with IP. That's the first time that I saw it, and I know everybody else debates too, but IP especially. But I saw him there, and I thought kind of weird guy, but nice all around. But then he was very rude to me. So yeah.
I never watched it. I'm looking it up now. How many times did he debate? Just the once? I know he debated Mike on crucifixion or something like that. Modern day debate here.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if he did one debate or more than one. So there's him debating Mike. Oh no, he debated him. Wait, they just debated? No. Okay, that looks like a clip from their debate because he's got "Did Jesus claim to be God? Inspiring philosophy versus true Islam." But it's just an 11-minute video. Yeah, I don't know if he debated anymore.
Endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation.
Jeez, the debate is going hardcore.
Not as hardcore as us over here at Goat Hub. See, beat you to it, Goat Hub. I know how you think.
Joe Biden apparently said the Border Patrol, by the way, endorsed me, and the Border Patrol then made a tweet saying, "To be clear, we never have and never will endorse Biden." So,
ouch.
That's funny. That's funny. I saw the debate, but I still don't get it. What's the reason for AP bringing up the name of God in the debate, and why do Muslims reply? I think this was later. This was earlier on this super chat. I think we explained it.
Yeah, I mentioned it. I mentioned it earlier.
But I made a video on this. I would always recommend watching that. I think it's a very important point. It's called "How Allah Got His Name Wrong." I think that video made the point very clear. So instead of me addressing that again, I would just recommend watching that through. That I made it there better than I would now. Noam says Noam is a true prophet. You see, this is proof. Yeah, you're a true prophet. Yeah.
Wait, if Noam is still around in a few minutes, then that means Noam is a true prophet.
Yeah. See, Dakota Dog said this may not be the focus of your channel. However, if you study recent discoveries of the Shroud of Turin, this proves the existence of Jesus. Yeah, sure. Yeah, David disagrees with that, unfortunately. So,
well, we're not even questioning the existence of Jesus, right?
Yeah, but David has problems with the Shroud of Turin. So, unfortunately,
I'm just not convinced. Very, very interesting features and so on, but
see, this is what skeptics do. That's what they do. Josh S said, "Hey, AP sent you a DM on X, but the Telegram was still pushing an old article that Shani Luke was alive on the Snapchat stories." Really? Are you? The Telegram did that? Are you serious? God, I don't even want to get into it. It makes me mad, absolutely mad. But I'll check it out. Lord Snow, out of curiosity, what's your opinion on the term Judeo-Christian? Too different of a topic, too big of a topic. I usually don't really use it, although I did in the past, and would still in different contexts. But what it does point out, what it does refer to is, I guess, since the Christian culture is influenced by the Jewish culture, their combination is often described as the Judeo-Christian culture or Judeo-Christian idea, Judeo-Christian Western values, and things like that. You could say that it's an accurate description. What do you think about this, David?
I'm totally fine with it as long as it's accurate. So people talk about Judeo-Christian values and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is you don't want to just say Christian because, yeah, you had the same things in Judaism. And so you just say Judeo-Christian, things that are common to both.
Oh no, Insane Clip said Freud response is your biggest nightmare. Please don't make these comments. I get scared.
Oh wait, is he serious? I thought that was someone joking. Fareed, how many times have we invited Fareed to join us live? I mean, Fareed will sit there going live about us for hours, and we'll say, "Dude, just come on over here and
join us live and say all this stuff.
Every time you mention his
won't do
name,
it.
I am very scared. So please don't mention his name anymore.
Yes, Fareed will not come on this show with us live because AP is too scared of him.
I'm even scared.
Fareed knows how terrified AP is, so Fareed will never come on the show. He knows AP is too scared.
Lloyd 444 said, "I hate that minor things in interlinear." That's what I do. Jack Ray said, "Mike Winger for president. Inshallah, we will endorse him."
You got some freaking ridiculous winglings coming over here.
Under a caliphate, the answer to problem Q8 of the International Math Olympiad is 72 versions. This is a good point. Lloyd 444, rumor is Bible Man was based on Mike Winger. My Bible Man was based. Tariq Al Safi, Daddy hates Israel, therefore I support Israel. Alhamdulillah. McKellen LOL says, CNN tried to make the claim that they are only arbiters of the presidential debate and sent out many letters stating people are not allowed to. Fair use, CNN is the American public, has ownership over it. Suck it. Huh. Interesting. That's the response to the question of talking about the debate and making live commentary as we watch it. Adam A10 said, "I don't know about you guys, but the more..." It's not Adam A10, it's Adam. Adam said, "I don't know about you guys, but the more I hear about this Mohammed fella, the more I don't like him." Yeah.
That's a Norm Macdonald joke.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he said it about Hitler. And the more I read about this Hitler guy, the more I don't care for him.
Oh, by the way, speaking of the Ahmadis and their behavior, I don't want to say who it is without their permission, but so these guys were very, very, very rude and weird. But I actually received a message from a significant Ahmadi leader of an Ahmadi community that said, "Hey, I saw the debate and I apologize for how my Ahmadi brothers treated you and for the insults and all that," and just made sure to reassured me to be that we are good and that I can contact him for whatever. But it's funny because I actually got an apology from an Ahmadi community leader because of the behavior of these two Ahmadis that we debated. That was very funny to see.
Hey,
Yes.
little side note. Because
Yes.
people are talking about, and then we're wondering, hey, how are we not watching the debate and giving live commentary on it? And I was thinking, I've seen YouTube repeatedly take down stuff like that before. I mean, like while it's live streaming, so people will be live streaming their reactions to some sort of like presidential debate and so on, and then YouTube will take it down, and then the person will appeal later on, and then you get you can get it restored, but it's too late. You know what I mean? The point was to do it live. I just clicked over on Rumble, and there's all kinds of channels doing that live. And the setup for one of these live streams looks exactly like here. There's comments on the side, there's super chats. The question is, do we need at some point a Rumble channel so that we can watch stuff like this where we know we aren't going to get totally screwed on?
No.
I say yes.
David Kazuma, the Dragon of Apologetics, said you guys should check out Christian black metal band Marble 2 and blackened death metal Dawnbreaker Ministry. It needs to be done in the metal scene. They're doing a great job spreading Jesus.
I don't like metal.
Is this Gordner's Bulldozer again? I don't know. That's interesting. John Lee says, "Hey, imagine if some guys in Israel started a group Jews for Uzair." Someone needs to do it for fun, except
Dude, we should start up a mock group, Jews for Uzair, and it's about the true Jews who worship Ezra as the son of God.
This is the proof. All right, that's it for now. We will be live again tomorrow on David's channel, inshallah.
It will be dope.
Inshallah. Thanks everybody for viewing. I will go now and look at what these two elders are doing and saying to each other. I like watching elder abuse, so it's just I will just go and watch the presidential debate. It is kind of funny that we have this like elder abuse right there on live TV everywhere, accessible on the internet. You can do that. Imagine they did this with children. That would be terrible. That would be terrible. It would be unacceptable. But when it's elders, of course, when it's two old men being abused publicly and humiliated while also abusing each other, that's totally fine. Anyway, I love it. So I'm going to check it out as well. And I really wonder which one of these two deranged old men will be the next president. David, what do you think?
I just think it's hilarious that like you got this message to Americans. It's always before us. You guys decide who your next leader is. You guys decide. Oh, just so you know, we've narrowed it down to these two for you.
Alhamdulillah.
All the powerful people have narrowed it down to these two options for you, but you decide who your next leader is of these two choices that we've narrowed down for you. Kind of funny.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
Yep. Anyway, time to go and watch those two deranged old people, inshallah, to keep up the rule of the old. We'll be back tomorrow. Until then, have a fantastic day. And as always,
this man has real.
And also,
stay away from Islam.
that's what they do.